What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of F1 Fantasy Pole Position. It is Saturday, November 8th. My name is Ewan. On today's episode, we are going to go over the Brazilian Grand Prix deadline stream for the next 2 hours. I will be here answering all your F1 fantasy questions, your hopes, your dreams, your worries, your concerns, your nightmares. And on the screen right now, that's what we're looking at with the weather at Interlagos. Don't know if you guys know this, but it's called Interlagos because it's between two lakes. Not sure if that's been mentioned in the commentary at all this weekend. Wow. But yes, hopefully everyone is doing well. Drop a hello in the chat. Tell me where you're watching from, what you're thinking about this weekend, all that fun stuff. And over the next 2 hours, we are going to get into all the fun stuff and all of the worries that F1 Fantasy brings us. This wonderful, wonderful game that we all play together. Let's check out the chat here real quick. I see Sammy's in the chat from Australia. Jazz Q98 says, "Hey, Ewan, not running any McLaren assets currently. Any suggestions for a team with Max, Leclerc, Sainz, Hadjar, Gasly, Red Bull, Mercedes, 131.4 million, 2 free transfers, but feel comfortable taking a -10 to get into McLaren?" Yeah, I'd probably get out of the Hadjar business and maybe the Max business. But to go from Red Bull to McLaren, you need about, what, 5 million? 5.4 million? So it might be like a Red Bull to McLaren, Leclerc to Antonelli, and Hadjar to Stroll. Behrman kind of move for you there. So yeah, let's see how it's going. Ewan's making sure he's not far behind on the chat this time. Yes, I fell behind quite spectacularly last time. I think it was, what, 2 deadline streams ago, Nixie? I can't remember. But now it says, "Hello, everyone. I hope you're ready for Chaos Racing in a few hours. Happy to chat F1 Fantasy. Until then, my team is locked nice and early, but really it's because I have limited moves. Hey, Ewan. Evening here in India. Jazz98 says, welcome. Hey, Ewan, says Michael. Nixie is in the chat. -10 for Charles to Oscar and Ollie. And Alonso, or keep Charles, switch to Kimi, keep Max, skip Lando, and do Charles to George or Charles to Oscar plus Ollie to Alonso. Then play a please seems better without Lando. I definitely get rid of Charles Leclerc. To get to Kimi is kind of banking on him converting his P2 right now, which looks good. Admittedly, like Mercedes looks good, but he was almost out in SQ1 last night as well. So we got to think about that when it comes to Kimi Antonelli. So I think I would do Leclerc to Russell and I guess keep Max and hope for a little bit of rain there, Nixie. Hopefully that helps. Charbrook is from the Philippines. What is up? Evan Craig, good morning from the US. It's 5 a.m. here where I'm at. Oof, that is early. That's mountain time, Evan Craig. What else have we got here? Enjoy your joint 5012. Hello all, how are we today? No clue what to do. Verstappen, Russell, Bortoleto, Sainz, Alonso, McLaren, Mercedes with 0.1 million budget and still autopilot wildcard final fix. And autopilot. Any tips? I kind of like the squad that you've got there. You could do Verstappen down to Piastri if you believe in McLaren, but you've got McLaren coverage there. With the constructor, 0.1 million, don't have a lot to do. You could wildcard and get a little bit weird. We'd probably have to bring in an Alpine asset, but yeah, overall, this squad looks strong. Here's my 20-point question this weekend. Keep Max and roll a transfer or switch to Norris? Well, I did a Final Thoughts episode last night. It was about, 11 minutes long. I'm not sure if anyone else has watched it yet. You can go check it out and come back. I'll be right here. And the 3 moves that I am thinking about are Verstappen, Leclerc, and Red Bull Racing out for Lando, George Russell, and Mercedes. I think this gives me the best driver right now in Lando Norris, and I think it sets me up quite nicely for Las Vegas in a couple of weekends' time, already having double Mercedes in my lineup. Gabby Bortoleto with some elevated driver of the day chances because he is from Brazil. It's his home country track from São Paulo. And Sainz starting P20 in this sprint gives me a lot of hope. He can't lose points unless he DNFs. And Gasly, I don't know what it is about this track, but the Frenchman loves this Brazilian circuit. Podium last year, P3 with Alpine, and looked pretty spicy. He was in the top 10 after SQ1, got hit with a yellow flag in SQ2, so that kind of hampered him from possibly going into SQ3. But in the post sprint qualifying interviews yesterday, he was like, feels like for the first time in the last 3 or 4 months that I feel like I can fight in the top 10. So like, let's roll with it. So that's why I feel comfortable using all 3 of my transfers to bring in big hitting assets, and I will just probably let the chips fall where they, or let the chips lay where they fall. I'm so bad at sayings, guys. I'm so bad at sayings. And just roll with Bortoleto, Sainz, and Gasly. Sainz, Ocon, or Gasly? All round, I would probably say Gasly because he can only lose 0.2 in budget, but he might go up 0.6. Sainz is likely to go down, but will probably score more points than Gasly. And Ocon, I'm just not really interested in. Good morning, says Alligator. How likely is the sprint race to actually happen? I think it's going to happen. Rebecca's in the chat from Kathmandu. Hopefully you're having a great time in Nepal, Rebecca. Those pictures have been looking amazing. Sak Shamanand says, I am in a dilemma to get Kimi. I have to swap out Behrman/Sports, whom to choose, and also Sainz, Gasly, Hadjar, who will be better for points. To get Kimi, I would swap out. That's a good point. Well, I've got my rankings actually. I think I posted my rankings up here in the top right. So if you guys have a kind of like this or that, that is my feelings in the top right-hand corner there, along with the expected points from F1 Fantasy Tools. Good morning. What do you think of a -10 for Sainz to Gabby Bortz this weekend? Don't really love a -10 for Tier B assets, to be honest. Michael's in the chat. Good day. Have Alonso and Sainz dump or keep one or both. I'd probably keep both if you're looking for points there, Michael. Would you drop Max for Lando if you end up with 2 Alpines? It's really hard to know who's going to DNF. Alpine, I don't know. Gasly sounds like he's okay. Colapinto is just cross the finish line Alpine, and that will be worth it. It's probably going to be a little bit wet. Max is going to probably pick up some spots in the sprint, but overall he seemed a little bit down about the pace of the Red Bull. Sector 2 was like particularly a problem for them, saying that it doesn't really have it. So yeah, we're 4 races to go, guys. It's not time to be passive and long term, I think. That's why I'm thinking about those 3 big moves there. Behrman and Piastri or Norris and Gasly? Norris and Gasly for me. I want to do Limitless Chip. What do you think I should go with? Triple McLaren, triple Mercedes Max. That's what I would do, Dasbear. Ollie or Gabby, who to preferably keep? Who do I have here? I think I have Behrman slightly above Bortoleto just because of the budget building potential, but Sauber doesn't look bad. Like, we got Nico up there in SQ3 in 10th, and Gabby was a little bit off the pace there in SQ2. So yeah, I reckon it's really a toss-up, but I would lean Behrman. I did actually make those rankings like a couple hours ago, so I've been reading more and more. I've watched the post interviews, so they may change a little bit. Let's see here. Don't forget to like the video, everyone, and subscribe to the channel. If you want to ask a question, you just got to subscribe. We are very close to 3,900 followers. We are well ahead of the pace to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the season. So y'all are crushing it. So thank you. And while I've got some of you here right now, I've got 78 of you here right now. Just want to let you know that tomorrow there will be a cool down room race review. So for the first time since Azerbaijan, the timing all works out. The time zones are correct. I will be there chit-chatting everything F1 Fantasy. Hopefully we will all be celebrating together as all 20 drivers cross the line and they've overtaken each other all 5 times and we're all looking at a boatload of points. What do we got here? I kept Max on my team because I already took a -10 for Russell, Bortoleto, Gasly instead of Leclerc, Alonso, Lawson. I'm not sure if I would have taken out Alonso Benodds, but overall, those are solid moves. Should I use autopilot for Norris Antonelli build if it rains? You can use autopilot as like a defensive defensive chip. to avoid the rain. So like if one of your tier A drivers DNFs, it's hopefully the other one doesn't DNF either. So that's a good way. Or if you're doing, but I think Norris is gonna outscore Antonelli this weekend. So if it stays dry, it almost feels a little bit of a waste. But with 4 races to go, with the wet weather, I would play the autopilot chip. I'd like it to be maybe more like not with Antonelli, but he looks strong enough that I think I'd be okay playing it there, Sammy. Alligator says, make 3 decisions. Keep Max and keep Alonso. Use autopilot. Definitely swapping in Russell for Leclerc. I have Verstappen, Leclerc, Sainz, Alonso, Gasly, McLaren, Mercedes with 3 transfers. Can only get Norris with Kimi. I'd keep Alonso and I'd use the autopilot. Max is really on the fence. What about triple McLaren with Alonso, Colapinto, Gasly, McLaren, Mercedes? Yes, I like that, Michael. Yes. Good morning, Ewan, says Joe. Good morning, Joe. Hope you're doing well. 11 says, hey, Ewan, should I go Norris, Alonso, or Piastri, Behrman? If Piastri passes Kimi and gets second in the sprint, he actually gets more points than Lando holding first. Also, there's a 1.2 million budget swing between Behrman and Alonso. If you are still prioritizing budget, then yes, let's go check the budget builder while we're here. Just got to remember that Piastri is going to probably lose you 0.1 of those gains, and Lando has a chance to pick you up 0.1 in gains. I don't think Piastri is going to reach 48 points, but I would back Lando to get to 38, especially if he continues his stretch here. So Behrman to Alonso, I totally understand. Currently, or Red Steel says, currently for Norris, Verstappen, Sainz, Alonso, Gasly, Red Bull, Mercedes, leaning to Verstappen, Red Bull, to McLaren. Russell, similar to your team thoughts, I don't think it's worth a -10 to bring in Bortoleto personally. Yeah, I'd avoid -10s to bring in B-tier assets. Behrman versus Stroll, Ollie is best in overtakes, but if it rains, Stroll is going good. Yes. I got to look at my rankings here. Stroll is 1 spot below Behrman, so I guess I'd go with Behrman. Good morning, says Short Sifting. Good morning, Short Shifting. Craig Black, with my budget, I can't quite get to McLaren, Mercedes, Norris, Piastri. I would need to go with Piastri instead of Norris or Antonelli instead of Russell. Thoughts? That is tough. I reckon I would probably go with Piastri over Norris, just because he looked a little bit better yesterday than he has before. Hello, everyone. Hello, Ewan. Love the FPL picks recently. Is it now time to make F1 fantasy fun again? We're not into that part of the season yet, Mr. Iceman. I know we're only in like week 11 of FPL, but yeah, I didn't want to captain Mo Salah anymore. I finally got him out of my team last night. I brought in Erling Haaland, but I did not captain Erling Haaland because they're playing my team, Liverpool. I'm not doing that. I'm not messing with that bad mojo at all. So, Mikel Merino gets the armband for Arsenal against Sunderland tonight. Let's go, differentials FC. Should I use no negative with Stroll or just use final fix after qualifying? I would use no negative this weekend. Hey, Ewan, says Eduardo. Hey, Eduardo. Norris, Russell, Bortoleto, Alonso, Colapinto, McLaren, Mercedes. Can't keep that team for 0.1. Would you change Alonso for Gasly or Bortoleto out, considering playing 3x? I would keep Alonso, and I would probably drop him down to... Or drop... Who would I drop? Oh, you gotta... So you can't get that team for 0.1 million, Eduardo? Am I reading that right? Then maybe I would just go like Russell to Leclerc, because I kind of like the rest of the team. So I wouldn't want to shake it up too much. And then you could maybe get on... Like, I'd go to Leclerc, because hopefully you'd get, as you can see here, like a little bit of a price rise. And then you could switch to Russell for Vegas. Verstappen, Piastri with both Alpine or Norris, Russell. What do you think? I'd go Norris, Russell. Maker 21. Dankov says, hi, I have Verstappen, Alonso, Sainz, Bortoleto, and Lawson with McLaren and Red Bull, 120.6 in the bank. Thinking about switching Verstappen, Lawson, and Red Bull to Norris, Gasly, and Mercedes, or Piastri, Behrman, and Mercedes. Which variant is better? I prefer Norris, Gasly, and Mercedes. -10 to bring in Lando and George. Like, there's no way you can avoid the -10, William. I prefer, if I have to take a -10, I prefer it for A tier assets. So that is where I would go. Budget reasons, couldn't afford Bortoleto and can't take the -6 from Alonso this week if I aim for a Norris Piastri build by Qatar. Good long-term thinking, Benods. Then that is good with me. Let's see, what else is going on? There's also a poll going on right now, guys. Best Tier A constructor outside McLaren, Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari, Williams. Not surprisingly, Mercedes is absolutely walking away with it, 95%. So let's get a new poll going here. Start poll. Yes. Oh, where are we going? Signs, Stroll. Let me know what you think about these options. Just out of these options, I'm not going to include Kimi Antonelli on this because I think he would walk away with it just about as much as Mercedes just did. So a new poll is up in the chat if you guys want to go check that out. Julia, just a book lover. I could go with Lando and Oscar with McLaren and Sauber, or Lando and Kimi with McLaren and Williams. Which one is better? Whew. Both options are a little eyebrow raising for me, Julia, but I would probably go with McLaren Sauber and Lando and Oscar. Just triple up. What's best, Tier A constructor or Tier A driver? Tier A constructor, Asaf, but like having Lando Norris is going to be very nice this weekend. So I would not go away from that too much. Every time this year I've swapped in for Norris, it's failed / not pay off. So that's why in Brazil, thinking to hold Max. If that's the vibes, alligator, go for it. Like, I totally understand. I haven't had Norris very often this season. Maybe like 1 or 2 races. And I don't remember if it's gone terribly wrong for me or not. But Mexico was so strong. I think he was, maybe this is controversial, but I feel like he was maybe the fastest driver in Austin as well. The car, I'm not going into this conspiracy theory about McLaren is sabotaging Oscar's car or anything like that, but the car clearly seems to suit Lando Norris right now a lot better than Oscar Piastri. So I'm willing to go with Lando right now. And the data's telling it, the data's telling us to go with Lando. Like, my gut reaction, yes, I literally filmed that Final Thoughts episode 12 minutes after sprint quali. So like, there was no data from F1.com. There was no sims. It was just like, Lando, that's it for me. So I usually go with that. And you guys, there's been 3,800 of you now following me over the course of the season. You know that when I go to bed tomorrow night, I'm going to have to, if I go to bed tomorrow night and I have Lando on my team and it doesn't work out, I will be happy. But if I second guess myself and hope that there's rain for Max Verstappen, that doesn't feel, hope is not a strategy. So right now, all I can do is play the cards that are on the table right now. And right now, the cards are saying that Lando Norris is the best pick in F1 Fantasy. So that is what I would go with. Matthias says, hello, it's so early in the morning. Yeah, I mean, it's 1 o'clock, so it's still kind of a normal time for us Europeans right now. Let's see. Wondering if it's wise to have no Verstappen or Red Bull asset. I am getting out of the Red Bull business this week, Maisha. Jay says, hello, Ewan, watching from Regensburg, Deutschland. Oh, yeah, Germany, right? Or is that Delaware? Regensburg, I guess it would be like America could have a Regensburg. Please give me your thoughts. I have Norris, Russell, Alonso, Hadjar, Gasly with McLaren, Mercedes, 0.0 in budget. Thinking of downgrading to Russell, Antonelli, Hadjar, Behrman, Gasly, or Alonso, Bortoleto. Honestly, Jay, I would maybe just go Hadjar down to, wait, if I know my budgets. Oh, okay, so you're 0.4. Sure, I was going to say just go Hadjar down to Sainz, but Hadjar is now less than Sainz. Of course he is. Dang. I mean, overall, I kind of like the team the way it is. Like, that's the team I'm almost trying to get to. Like, you're very close to my squad. I don't know. That's a tough one. I wouldn't get rid of Norris or Russell, McLaren or Mercedes, but you don't really have a lot of room. Like, you've got 3 of the 4 cheapest assets and you got 0.0 in the bank. So if you're looking to get more budget, then Hadjar to Colapinto is risky, but Colapinto only needs 2 points for a 0.2 rise. Hadjar needs 15 to avoid a drop, so it could be something that you're looking at there, Jay. So hopefully that helps out a little bit there. Let me scroll back up here. To gain some flexibility and budget, then yeah, I would go with Colapinto. Do you like Sainz or Alonso more this week? Sainz better for sprint because he's starting last, but Alonso better car pace. Yes, I have Sainz one place above Alonso. You can see my rankings right there in the top right of the screen right now. And the Sims also back out. The Sims also back up Sainz over Alonso because Alonso's starting P5. Verstappen is right behind him. Realistically, we got to think Verstappen's going to overtake Alonso at some point, despite Alonso's heroics around here in years past. He is on a miserable run of form right now in F1 Fantasy, Fernando Alonso, so you got to take that into consideration as well. But there is a world where, like, yes, Fernando Alonso qualifies P5 in the sprint, but he could come out of it with a -1 or a -2 over the course of a weekend. He could still score a lot of points, but the last time we had a sprint was in Austin, and he said that, okay, so we qualified really well on Friday, and then DNF'd in the sprint on Saturday, qualified 10th on Saturday for the Grand Prix, and then maybe he clinched a point, but he's like, by Monday, we may have been like 14th or 15th. So last time he said that, it seemed like they were trending downwards. I still think Aston Martin has a really good car, especially in Sector 2 of this track. So if they can keep that together, I think they'll be okay this weekend. But Sainz, like, let's go. Let's do this thing. Where are we at? Schedule. Over here. So sprint qualifying results. I think Sainz, if Sainz has a good race, we could be looking at 7, 8, 9 points. And this is what happened with Gabby Bortoleto in Austin. If you guys remember, he started pretty far back in the sprint and he kind of like went up the pecking order. Now there were some DNFs, but there could be some DNFs here. Carlos Sainz, a veteran driver, should be pretty reliable here. Had a miserable outlap yesterday in SQ1. That's why he got eliminated. So it feels like a little bit of a gift for Carlos Sainz. Whereas if we scroll up here, Fernando Alonso is behind Max Verstappen. He's not going to go down past Lance Stroll, but could Charles Leclerc kind of battle? So Alonso's looking probably at a -1, -2 for now in the sprint, and it could still be strong over the course of the weekend, but I think Sainz's head start where he could maybe have 7, 8, 9, even 10 points after the sprint, if everything goes okay for Williams, is going to give him enough of a head start that I think I would still go with Sainz. Ordina says, so you agree with the Norris, Piastri, Gasly, Bortoleto, Alonso, McLaren, Mercedes team and turn on the ballot? Yes, I do. Praying for a Sunderland thrashing. Oh, of course you are. Newcastle fan. Matthias says, hey, you and my team is Leclerc, Verstappen, Hadjar, Sainz, Bortoleto, McLaren, Racing Bulls, 3 transfers, 127.6 budget. So I use 2 transfers or 3 this weekend. If you have 3 free transfers, don't be afraid to use them. But if it is like if your third free transfer is for a fringe asset, like a tier B asset, like Bortoleto to Alonso, Alonso to Sainz, or something like that, I would probably just save it, put it in my back pocket, and have it for Vegas, where we're going to have 3 free practice sessions. We're going to have tons of data, and it could be a really swingy weekend where we want to all of a sudden hop off of all the papaya assets and get in Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes, as much of those assets as possible. And if you have 3 free transfers, you will be 10 points ahead of the field automatically in Las Vegas. So that's kind of nice as well. So I think having that extra transfer is going to be fine. I'm likely not going to have it because I am pretty set on going with these. It reset again. We were going over this last night in the final thoughts, but my 3 moves are likely going to be Lando Norris, George Russell, and Mercedes in. There's a world where I could get in Fernando Alonso here for Pierre Gasly, but a -10 for someone that's going to fall 0.6, and it just feels a little too fringy to me. So Gasly can only go down 0.2, so that's not too bad for me. And I went over this yesterday in the final thoughts as well, but let's say, right, that Fernando Alonso, where's he at? 5.5 million. He needs 46 points to avoid a drop. That's not happening outside of a miraculous weekend. So this negative 16 is going to drop off from Austin. But let's say he scores, 15 points this weekend. Say it all goes very well. He's still going to fall. So he's going to be 4.9 million. So now if we're looking at Vegas, he needs 14 points to avoid a price drop. Vegas is full of long straights and like short, like slow corners. Aston Martin, not good at long straight circuits. So Alonso is just going to be another transfer out. If you have him in your team this week, I'm fine holding him because I think he's going to get you some points. You just got to take that 0.6 on the chin. But like Formula Fantasy Hub, Rob, who's in Australia right now, shout out to him, he was kind of touting this in his team selection or his final thoughts. I can't remember which one it was. But like Alonso can score you some good points, and that is true. But I think to bring him in this week pretty much means that you're booking in a transfer out for Vegas. Yes, he can only fall 0.4 in Vegas, so it's not as bad as you would think. But like, it still feels like there's so many with a sprint race coming up and then Vegas, which is not going to be a McLaren stronghold. But then Qatar is coming up right after that, which is a McLaren stronghold. It's like we really need to focus our transfers on these tier A assets, not kind of messing around right now with tier B drivers that are scoring 6, 7, 8, 9 on a good day, 17 points, like outside of Ollie Behrman, who scores a 36, or Yuki Tsunoda with a 37 in Austin, thanks to all the DNFs. Like those don't happen all the time. Antonelli is almost a tier A asset, so that kind of falls into a different bucket altogether. But all of these guys, 8.5 and below, I don't know if it's worth a transfer. You just might have to make your bed and take it there. So, God, I'm so bad at saying it's actually ridiculous. We should have a counter in the top right-hand corner to just be like, oh, you had messed up another saying. Bortoleto should be in that poll instead of Stroll. That's a great point, Nixie. How many times in the past Verstappen said the car was broken and suddenly it's a different story? I bought into that in Mexico, and then it did not go so well. So I was like, oh, don't worry about it. Mexico, Red Bull always makes a step from Friday to Saturday, but it did not go that well. And he did seem a little downbeat, to be honest. Is triple McLaren the play, says Keat and Blair, 6262. I can get there with 3 tree transfers. I have also played no negative this weekend. If you can get triple McLaren, I would go for it. I cannot without totally blowing up my squad. So go for it. Yeah. Michael says, do you think there will be fewer moves to Behrman as so many are migrating to Norris? I do think that with this kind of shift, with Norris looking so good, Mercedes looking so... Is Mercedes looking so good, or is Red Bull and Ferrari just looking so bad? I'm not even sure, but people are going to be using transfers to get Mercedes in and probably upgrading another driver somewhere. So depending on teams' budgets and what they had to start with, then it'll either be like a Piastri or a Verstappen to Alonso, or a Russell to a Piastri, or probably like an Alonso to a Behrman or something. So it'll be interesting to see what the elite data says afterwards. Alrighty, Matthias says, thoughts on Norris, Piastri, Hadjar, Sainz, Bortoleto plus McLaren kick. Would use all 3 transfers to swap out Verstappen, Leclerc, and Racing Bulls. I really don't like Hadjar this weekend. I'm not really convinced by him. Playing the no negative chip, asked Justin. Wish I was, but I used it in Spa and saved myself a whole 4 points. Yay, that's great. But also can't complain because Final Fix was the best use of Final Fix I'll ever have in a season. So you get the good, you get the bad as well. So wish I did have it for this weekend though. So if you have it, I would play it. Russell Antonelli or Norris Behrman with McLaren, Mercedes, Bortoleto, Gasly, Lawson. I mean, Russell Antonelli is probably the safe play, but Norris Behrman is some upside that I would be chasing there. Lando and Kimi or Lando and Behrman? Lando and Kimi. Verstappen and Ferrari to Piastri and McLaren, have Norris and Mercedes, then yes, 1,000 times yes. Jay says Germany. Nice. Deutsch. Yes, nice. Cool. That's not too far from where I'm at in Stuttgart. Let's see here. Scrolling back up. Oh my goodness, I'm falling behind. The 30-second timer is doing nothing. I saw Stella say that these low grip tracks are Lando's bread and butter while Oscar struggles with low grip tracks. Is Brazil a low grip track? I thought it wasn't supposed to be, but maybe it is. I know like Mexico was, and that's why Piastri kind of struggled there. But there was kind of some prevailing theory and the podcasts and the previews and stuff like that, that Oscar should do quite well here. And I mean, he was P2 in practice 1 and 3rd in sprint qualifying. Max, Kimi, or Norris, Yuki? Max, Kimi, because I don't trust Yuki at all. Hi, I don't have the budget for Lando and Russell. I'm between Lando, Kimi, or Piastri. Russell would incur -10. Planning on using autopilot this week. I guess I'd go Lando, Kimi. I think I might stay with the squad and have and go for points. Thanks again, you, and good luck, and thanks for your streams and reviews. Anytime, Jay, anytime. Don't forget to drop a like on your way out if that is what you were doing. Hey guys, how you, and have Verstappen, Ferrari, Sonoda, Lawson. Is it worth -20 and swap all 4 out? No, I really don't like -20s. Unless you have the wild card, then go for it. Sino8630. I'm keeping Bortoleto, Alonso, and Sainz. Good game, money. Yeah, go for it. If I have Russell already, should I double up and replace Red Bull for Mercedes? Yes, I would do that, Cherrybrook. RJ Epic 44 says, hi, thoughts on McLaren, Mercedes, Colapinto, Bortoleto, Alonso, Hadjar. And I will never put Norris, so deciding if it should be Piastri in the fast McLaren or Verstappen in the rain. Help. I would go Piastri. Chat, should I get chocolate or carrot cake for my birthday? Please, I can't decide. Well, first off, happy birthday, Benods. Great job by you. But also chocolate cake. Like, what are we talking? Sorry, like carrot cake? No, that's like not even in the top 5 cakes. I would do it risky, but more points. Chocolate and happy birthday. If you had unlimited transfers, what would you do? I would do my team. Well, if I had unlimited transfers, I would probably get in Alonso. I'd probably do Gasly to Alonso here, which would give me 1.2 left over. And I might take a sneaky punt on getting Bortoleto out for Stroll. So I would maybe go double Aston Martin here if I had unlimited transfers, which I do not. But yeah, maybe I would. Or maybe I'd go Bortoleto to Behrman. I'd do Gasly to Alonso and Bortoleto to Behrman and probably just keep Sainz, and that would be my squad, Seth. I'm nervous about Sainz. I've had him 5 times this year, and 4 of them were DNFs. Go Man City. All right, Joe. Well, if you could just get Sainz out of your team so the rest of us can prosper, that would be great. So thank you for that. Bluff LV says Gasly or Colapinto. I'm going with Gasly. It's it kind of seems like his track. I'm not gonna lie. I'll get the chocolate, says Benods. Yeah, thinking I should probably swap since I'd probably do it for Vegas anyway. Russell plus Gasly or Antonelli plus Behrman. I think Russell plus Gasly, Bluff. Currently, Verstappen, Leclerc, Bortoleto, Sainz, Alonso, McLaren, Ferrari. 3 transfers to Norris, Piastri, Mercedes. Piastri expectations versus Russell. League rival can't afford Piastri. We'd want Alonso out, but not enough transfers. Thanks. If you're just competing with your rival, then go different with him, GL Ford. All right. Give me 2 seconds here. We're 33 minutes into the stream. You guys are absolutely crushing it. 126 of you are watching. I actually can't check the likes, so I'm hoping that there's 100 likes on there, but don't forget to do that. So like the video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are 7 people away from 3,900 subscribers, everyone. You are absolutely crushing this. But let's go do some F1 Fantasy Predict here. 90 minutes to go. Deep breath. I'm going to take a sip of my tea. It should be nice and cool now. There we go. All right, make my predictions. Predict the São Paulo Grand Prix. Let's see here. I'm going to go Oscar, or I'm going to go Lando and Oscar, and I'm going to go Russell. I think that's what we're going to get. How many teams will score points in the sprint? McLaren, Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, Aston Martin. I'm going to go 6. Is that a lame answer? 6. There we go. 15 points. That seems pretty good. Who will finish ahead in the sprint? Sainz, Hadjar, Alonso. Oh, we're going to go with Fernando Alonso there. Actually, probably just lock that in for the 2x. That feels like free points on the board, right? Who will take pole position for the Grand Prix? Mr. Lando Norris. Who will qualify highest for the Grand Prix? I'm going to go George Russell. How many times will the safety car or VSC be required during the Grand Prix? Let's say... Oh, over 2 for 20 points? That's easier than... What's easier? The safety car or VSC be required more than 2 times in the race, or Fernando Alonso finishes ahead in the sprint? I'm going to go Alonso in the sprint. Who will finish ahead in the race? I think I'm going to go with Lance Stroll there. Which team will score more points this weekend? Mercedes. Who will set the fastest pit stop of the race? Most of us will hope that it's McLaren. And who does the Drivers' Championship League change hands following Sunday's race? No, it does not. Alrighty. How did I do? Do you think I did all right with those questions, guys? Let me know in the chat. Yes, for you know a lot about F1. No, for read a book, nerd. All right, can't afford Norris and a Merc driver. Should I do triple Mercedes? It sets you up quite nicely for Vegas, so I don't hate it. I don't hate that at all. For me, bringing in Alonso or Stroll holds. Well, could you get to Russell or could you get to Piastri instead of Russell in that build? Maybe I'd go there. For me, bringing in Alonso or Stroll holds the same argument. We have 8 or 9 free transfers left. Are we spending 2 of those transfers on Aston Martin? Someone was watching the live stream the other night, Benods. So that is a great question. Very loosey-goosey aphorisms. Yes, just add it to the list of things I'm not that great at. Reckon I'm trapped with Alonso, Sainz, Bortoleto, and just picking the A drivers for the rest of the season. I agree, GL, for it. It feels very much like the end of 2024 last season when it was just like, all right, you got Valtteri Bottas, you got Zhou Guanyu, you got Franco Colapinto, and you call it a day, and you hope that you picked the best Tier A assets. But that was back when we had Tier A, Tier B, and Tier C assets. Remember those times, guys? Wow, like that was a long time ago. Alrighty. So the T3 team is actually in that George Russell mini league. So let's see what F1 Fantasy Tools would like. Also, oh, sorry that I've waited 36 minutes for this. But if you sign up, hold on, G. Elford, let me get your question out of the way here. If you sign up today for F1FantasyTools.com, their premium product, using promo code UN50, that's 50% off your first month. 1 month today is the end of the F1 season. So you can get the Brazilian Grand Prix, the Las Vegas Grand Prix, the Qatar Grand Prix, and the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, all with the premium product of F1 Fantasy Tools for 50% off. Try it for this month, and then you can steamroll into 2026 knowing that you like the premium product or you don't like the premium product. I love it. That's why I've got my T3, T2, T1 team connected to F1 Fantasy Tools. So we will see. But yes, use promo code UN50 for 50% off your first month. If the sprint race is delayed, will they move the F1 Fantasy deadline? That's a great question. I reached out to the F1 Help channel earlier this morning because I was hoping someone would ask me this question. And let's see here. Nada. I ain't got nothing from them right now. So if I get anything before the deadline, I will let y'all know. Aston Martin is same like Red Bull or Racing Bulls. When you see Stroll performing like that, you know Alonso is in for a haul. Shame he is just a 1 week punt, but a great one nonetheless. I agree. Hermanvos. What do you think of going McLaren, Mercedes, Norris, Piastri, Sainz, Gasly, Colapinto? Costs 135.2 million. I like it. It's a lot of eggs and a couple of baskets, but I don't mind it at all. These insights are gold, man. You're keeping my season alive. Glad to hear it, Matthias. Yeah, you are very welcome, sir. Morning from Canada. Good morning, Reckless Medic. My decisions this week. Option 1, Leclerc and Behrman to Piastri and Sainz. Keep Verstappen and autopilot. Option 2, Verstappen, Leclerc and Behrman to Norris, Piastri and Alonso. Do I play AP there? Yes, I think this is a great weekend to play autopilot. I'm not really expecting any bad weather in Vegas, Qatar, or Abu Dhabi. So with any chance of rain this weekend, it feels like the right moment to play it. If you're not going to play it this weekend, I'd probably just save it for Abu Dhabi and take a punt, or maybe Qatar if you don't have your 3X. And then you can just choose between Lando or Oscar if you can get to that kind of build. Red Bull and Antonelli or McLaren and Behrman? Well, Red Bull Antonelli is going to outscore it in the Sims, and that puts you in a little bit of a nice position. Or wait, hold on. Antonelli to Behrman is 16 points. McLaren to Red Bull is almost 30 points. So I guess I would go with McLaren and Behrman. So I think you're fine there, actually, Ian. Actually, there's on the other vid, but talk me out of autopilot chip with Lando, Max, Sainz, Alonso, Bortz with McLaren and Aston. Well, the autopilot chip doesn't really matter about your constructors, So Lando versus Max is a great time to play the autopilot chip. No arguments for me there. Matthias says, hi again. I have Leclerc, Verstappen, Hadjar, Sainz, Bortoleto, McLaren, and Racing Bulls. Who should I trade out and for who? I have 3 transfers, 5.6 budget left with this team. Oh, Leclerc to... I'm trying to think. So Leclerc to Antonelli saves you what? 7 million. So then you've got 12.6 million. And then you can go, you're going to be just short of Racing Bulls to Mercedes. But if you can go down a route like that, so maybe Hadjar, Leclerc, and Racing Bulls to Antonelli, Alonso, and Mercedes. Maybe that's your best bet, Matthias. Max and Kimi or Lando and Yuki? That's a great question. It's got to be Max and Kimi for me. I don't love it, but Yuki, I'm just not interested in at all this weekend. Like, just looks bad, looks off it. Hi, like your content. Thank you. I appreciate that. Verstappen and Behrman or Norris and Colapinto. Other picks are the same. I really like Norris this weekend. I can't look past it. But if you want to believe in Max in the rain, that's fine. But hope is not strategy. Norris looks good. I wish it was Gasly. If it was Norris and Gasly, I'd probably say Norris and Gasly. But because it's Colapinto, I'm a little bit more on the fence there. Russell plus Alonso or Piastri plus Gasly. Russell plus Alonso for me. Calvin says, I have Norris, Russell, McLaren, and Mercedes. Is a -10 worth it to switch from Russell to Piastri? Probably not. It's close. Piastri looks pretty good. He looks like he's bouncing back. But Russell, I call Russell the mop for a reason. He cleans up when there's an opportunity. He's never going to get drive of the day, usually. Piastri, if Piastri wins back the World Drivers' Championship or lead, then we could definitely be looking at him getting drive of the day, just as like a bounce back, that kind of thing. So that is something we need to think about. Let's see. Oh, more likes. Yes, always appreciated. Malia says, hey, dude, I have Russell, Norris, Bortoleto, Colapinto, Alonso, McLaren, Mercedes. Would you take a -10 to change Colapinto to Gasly? Nah, I would just keep it. Just lie in the bed you made. What? I really need to look up this saying, but you know what I mean. Like, you've made your bed, you got to lie in it. Is that right? Is that the right way to say that? I think it's like one of those things where you say a word too much and you're like, bow, bow. I don't understand. But I wouldn't take a -10 to go from Colapinto Gasly. Not at all. Is Norris plus Piastri best for 3X? Yes, but it may not be the best track to play 3X just because of the rain. It's a little bit iffy. I'm struggling if I go Norris, Piastri, Kick, or Norris, Behrman, Mercedes. Other drivers are Hadjar, Sainz, Bortoleto, and McLaren. I would always pick the stronger constructor over the stronger driver. Hi, how are you? I'm splitting here as either Max, Lando 2X on one of the McLaren, Red Bull, Sainz, Hadjar, Behrman, or Limitless. Use that Limitless. Smoke it if you got it. You got triple McLaren, you got triple Mercedes, and you got Max Verstappen, DesX. Go for it. Thinking about 3 DRS in Qatar and have a tight budget to get Norris plus Piastri. With that in mind, should I avoid or should I swap Alonso for Bortoleto, or all in points keep Alonso and swap Colapinto for Sainz? Well, if you're swapping Colapinto, are you bringing Colapinto in for Sainz? Yeah, I guess that is how you're doing it in the wording. Then Sainz could also drop 0.6 million. So you are taking a little bit of a risk there also. I would definitely... I wish you could get to Behrman in one of those scenarios because that's as close to a lock as 0.6 as you can get. But it is more about points. And who knows what's going to happen in Qatar. That's 2 races away. We could be... if we go back to the budget builder here, it may not be as tight as you think because both of these McLaren assets, Piastri could drop 0.1 this weekend. Norris probably can rise, go up 0.1. So it won't be that tight, but there could be situations where these McLaren assets fall a little bit further towards us and helps us out as we get to Qatar. I'm going 0 safety cars, says Mr. Iceman. Okay. Norris, Sainz, Bortoleto, McLaren with Alonso, Hadjar. Desperately need to build budget back up from last week's abysmal budget loss. Then I would get rid of Alonso and Hadjar. Yeah, there you go. Behrman, Gasly, Mercedes. Perfect. Let's see here. Okay. My current team is Norris, Russell, Behrman, Borletto, Hadjar, 2 trades. What would you do need to get that McLaren in? I would get McLaren in. So McLaren to Red Bull is about 5 million. And then you're probably looking at like a Russell to Antonelli there. That's maybe the only way you can do that. At the airport watching your stream, FYI, I use a cool tool on the F1 tool site to allocate all the simulations for sprint and rain races to pick my lineup. That's fancy, Stefan. But thanks for watching from the airport. I hope you're going somewhere fun. Thoughts on Haas for B tier constructor? I'm looking at them right now. Good budget rise, but I don't really feel great about their expected points. Behrman and Ocon didn't look that great. I'd maybe just take the punt on Aston, to be honest. I mean, they're 2 million cheaper as well. F1 Fantasy keeps refreshing before I can fully remember what team I had on my screen. Yeah, that was happening to me. Verstappen plus Leclerc plus RB to Norris. Yes, that's what I'm doing, but I'm doing it for free. But yes, it's still probably worth a -10. I have McLaren, Mercedes, Norris, Leclerc, Sainz, Alonso, Borletto. I'm thinking of moving Leclerc to Russell and having 3 free moves in Vegas. That sounds great, Urban 988. I agree. Good moves. I could see Oscar with driver day, says Michael. Yeah, I hope the fantasy devs listen to our feedback about scoring for next year. Yes, just not a -20 in the sprint. Like, come on, guys. You're killing us. You are killing us here. 150 people are watching, so thank you for tuning in to the deadline stream. 45 minutes in, I should probably do a new poll, huh? Best B tier driver: Behrman 42, Alonso 40, Sainz 15, Stroll 3. Okay. All right, let's do another poll here. Actually, you know what? Load up the chat real quick, guys, with what kind of question you want and what options you want, and then we'll go with that for the next 15 minutes. So over the next couple of minutes, drop a bunch of questions for the poll, and then I'll pick one, and we can kind of do the crowd knowledge of the crowd. Oh my goodness. My brain. Hey, Verstappen, Russell, or Norris, Hamilton, or Piastri, Russell? Ooh. Maybe Verstappen, Russell on that one. Norris, Russell, McLaren, Mercedes, Behrman, Alonso, Gasly, worth autopilot? Yes. I'm here to show you love, brother. Keep it up, says Average Sports Guy 19-1. Thank you, mate. I really appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. It's kind of early for you as well, but I appreciate you being here. Sahil says, triple Mercedes, McLaren, Sainz, Borletto, Hadjar. If I get Norris, I can get a Mercedes driver. I can't get a Mercedes driver. Have a budget of 124.2. Could be Piastri plus coming. We'll have to take a -10 to swap Hadjar out for Gasly. Triple I'd probably do it, Sahil. When are you going to 3X? Probably Qatar, Valor. That's what I'm looking at right now. However, there's like a small possibility that I do it in Vegas if it looks like the opportunity is there to make a little bit of a differential run. So we'll see. Let's see. Okay. Verstappen, Antonelli, Tsunoda, Hadjar, Alonso, McLaren, Mercedes, 131.2 or 131. 2 transfers and using no negative. Thank you, Verstappen, Norris, and Tsunoda to Behrman. Thoughts? Yes. Like that quite a lot, Grant. Go with that. My team is currently Norris, Piastri, Alonso, Borletto, Gasly with McLaren. Sauber. Thoughts? Could be a good weekend to use 3X then, if you're going to go with Sauber, Julia. But, yeah, I mean, overall, I prefer 2 tier A constructors, but that's just not what it is. We are two whole subscribers away from 3,900, everybody, which is fantastic. So if you're watching and you want to ask a question, feel free to like the video and subscribe. Just jumped in, said Samsy. Who are we thinking are strong this weekend? Red Bull seem iffy and Ferrari look nowhere. Yeah. It's McLaren, it's Mercedes, it's a little bit of Aston Martin if you can get to them. So not bad at all there, but that's what I would say, Samsy. Reuters says McLaren, Mercedes, Verstappen ×2, Piastri, Sainz, Alonso, and Gasly, but I'm leaning towards McLaren, Mercedes, Verstappen ×2, Behrman, Antonelli, Tsunoda, Borletto, no negative. Go with your gut, Eric. Don't worry about it. I mean, the Sims are just a sim. It's not real life. We don't play these games on paper. Yeah, we play them on the track, I guess. Is that right? Oh my God, how many sayings am I going to mess up in these 2 hours? We're only 49 minutes into the stream, and I'm pretty sure I've already messed up like half a dozen sayings. So we'll see how it goes. See how it goes. Bowie Knife says, hi, should I consider negative 10 to swap out Lawson for another B tier to prevent the 0.6 drop in value? I have Verstappen, Russell, Gasly, Bordello, Lawson, McLaren, Ferrari. I'm switching out Max to Norris, Ferrari to Mercedes. Thanks so much, says Bowie Knife. Lawson to Sainz or Lawson to Alonso are your options there, but like Alonso's going to drop. So if you're looking for budget preservation, then he's probably not your option. Sainz might have a chance of avoiding a drop compared to Alonso. So if that's what you want, that's what I would go with, Bowie Knife. But other than that, I really like those moves. 3,900. Thank you, everybody. I don't even know. I don't have like a celebration thing on here, but yes, I really appreciate it. 100 to go until 4K. Can we get that in the final 4 races of the F1 Fantasy 2025 season? I'm pretty sure we can. I'm pretty sure we can get 100 more cats, dogs, grandmas, aunts, uncles. You know, we got Thanksgiving coming along. People are going to have, it's going to be like an all-day drinking fest. You know, just be like, oh, Auntie, let me put my phone number in your phone. And you just slide over to YouTube and Auntie can sign up for the channel. And we'll get closer and closer to the 4,000 mark as we get to the final 4 races of the season, which is crazy. 4 races to go. Don, what is up, Dan? I got Verstappen, Bortoleto, Antonelli, Tsunoda, Colapinto, McLaren, Ferrari. Only 2 free transfers. Could take a hit to get Mercedes, Piastri, Gasly, and not enough budget to get Norris in. Would that be worth it? Yes, because you're getting tier A assets in. I like that. Just logged in, says Josh. Norris, Piastri, Gasly, or Norris, Russell, Behrman. Alonso Sainz, Mercedes, McLaren, Radar. Cheers from Canada. You're welcome from Germany to Canada. The internet is amazing. And I would go Norris, Piastri, Gasly for me there, Josh. I have 13.9 million left, but I need a driver. What would be best? I have Norris, Carlos, Colapinto, and Bortoleto. I can't believe I'm saying that. I might go Lance Stroll with 13.9 million left over. I think I'd avoid Yuki Tsunoda. To afford Lando plus Max, I have to run Aston using my using my autopilot chip. Team would also have Alonso, Sainz, Bortoleto, McLaren. Crazy, but it just might work. So yeah, I don't know. That's really close. The problem is that you're going to have to take Aston out next week, and we've talked about this. You've only got 8 transfers, or 8 or 9 transfers left in the F1 Fantasy season, so is it really worth it to use 2 free transfers on Aston Martin? I don't know. It is crazy. I don't mind it, but yeah. I might... Short term, yes. If you have a wild card, go for it, but I probably would avoid it this weekend. Best 4 A-tier drivers for this weekend, please in order. What about a B-tier constructor pool? Yes. Okay, so are those the questions? Okay, best 4 A-tier drivers for this weekend, please in order. I got my rankings up there, Samsy, so you can go check them out. That's what I do. What about a B-tier constructor pool? Let's do a B-tier constructor pool. Are we going to put Aston Martin in here? I feel like they're going to win pretty easily. So I might keep Aston out because I think they are far and away the best option. So best tier B constructor. And we're just going to vote on the rest of them here. Alpine, Haas, Racing Bulls, Sauber. There we go. Because, yeah, I think Aston Martin's going to win that quite easily, but it's worth a shout. Let's see what the people think here for right now. Okay, back up to the chat. We are crushing. You know what? I'm going to just quickly do my T2 squad because that team is in the mud, but we will have a little fun with that. So that's going to be Mercedes in, and I got 5.2 million. So I guess they just want me to go Hadjar to Alonso for points? Sure, we'll do Hadjar to Alonso for points. That's fine. You know what? We're going to do Hadjar to Alonso for points. And then we're going to take a -10 and bring in Mr. Kimi Antonelli, because why not? T2 squad, up, and away we go. What chips do I have left for this team? No negative. That will be getting played this week. Okay. There we go. Confirm changes. Bada bing, bada boom. Okay. So the poll is up. Will you autopilot with Norris, Russell, or where are you on chip usage over the rest of the season, says Dan. Probably going to use autopilot and hopefully set up for 3x in Vegas or Qatar. I would secretly like to keep autopilot for Abu Dhabi so I could take like a little bit of a punt, but have a safety net. But because of the rain, which let's go check it out. I haven't checked it out in about 55 minutes. So let me refresh this page. Let's see what we've got going on here. We've got to go and find where we are at between the two lakes. So right now, with an hour to go, there is some rain in the area. But how are we looking here? Let's actually scroll out a little bit. So it's these two lakes right here. So this is what it's been doing all day. And now we are looking into the future. Oh my God, there's so much rain. That was a lot of rain. And more rain. Ooh la la, that's a lot of rain. Okay, so I think that means we're going over to X, and we're going to go to Formula 1, the list that I have made here. What are we looking? Okay, so it looks like, as of 12 minutes ago, Yuki Tsunoda and Carlos Sainz will be starting from the pit lane, which is not great, but it may be good news for Max Verstappen managers because Yuki Tsunoda is pretty much running a test right now for 24 laps for Red Bull. So they're going to consider rear wing and suspension. We might even see Yuki pit. I don't know. And that could spell good things for Max Verstappen for the rest of the weekend. But that is still kind of falling into the hope category of strategy. And I still think Lando Norris looks fine. Nate Saunders from ESPN say, no storm this morning as had been expected, but some expected later, has spoken to FIA and a couple of teams could be damp at the start of the race. A few say current forecasts suggest there might be a big downpour in time for Q3 in qualifying this afternoon. So the sprint may be okay. What else we got? Let me just check if we see anything else. Okay, the race is saying good news overnight from Interlagos as worries about São Paulo being hit by a cyclone have gone. Despite a wet start Saturday, conditions are so much better than feared, with the rain having eased and the wind being much less than anticipated. There should be no problem getting the sprint and qualifying underway today, even if things may well be damp with the occasional showers later on. But yes, Yuki Tsunoda and Carlos Sainz are going to start from the pit lane. I'm just seeing we don't have any super early locks from anyone in F1 Fantasy. Nothing yet. But yes, Yuki and Carlos starting from the pit lane. So that is interesting. Okay, back to it here. Okay, I saw that we went a little bit below 3,900 after I was like, thank you for 3,900. So thank you to the 4 people that have now signed up again for me to get back over 3,900. So great job by y'all. 2 chips left, says Alligator6674. Autopilot in 3x. Gut is telling me to go Verstappen, Russell versus Norris, Antonelli. Would you use autopilot or save it? I would definitely use it if I go Verstappen, Russell. Norris, Antonelli, I'm pretty sure Norris is going to outscore Antonelli outside of a DNF. Verstappen, Russell could be a little bit up in the air, so that might be a good use of the autopilot chip. Have Limitless and 3x available. Do I play this sprint? I'd probably go Limitless. Triple McLaren, triple Mercedes, and what's his face? Max Verstappen, just the 4-time world champion. Name an overrated driver this weekend. I know nothing about F1, but I'm trying to keep the comments coming, says Average Sports Guy. I appreciate the support, amigo. Overrated driver for this weekend? Maybe Ollie Behrman. I mean, I know he's got the budget, but I don't know if he's got the points this weekend. So, yeah, maybe I'll be controversial and say Ollie Behrman is overrated this weekend. Would you prefer triple McLaren, Mercedes, Alpines, and Sainz, or McLaren, Mercedes, Norris, Russell, Behrman, Sainz, Colapinto? I would go that second team. Show some love, everybody. Don't forget the like button. Always appreciate that, Quasar. But yes, drop a like. A like is the smallest thing that I can ask from you guys. And then a subscribe is the next thing. And then, if you really don't mind seeing my face quite a lot and listening to me or chit-chatting with me, you can sign up for the Patreon or the YouTube membership program. Get in the Discord, early access to videos, to pre-recorded videos, and 2026 prize leagues are coming, and there's an extra video every month, and you get to listen to me babble on about F1 Fantasy a little bit extra. So if that's what you want to do, go ahead and do that. Max Leclerc, Sainz, Bortoleto, and Gasly thinking of swapping to Norris, Russell, Bortoleto, Alonso, Gasly, McLaren, Mercedes, 134.6 budget. Yes, love that team. That is simply lovely. Very nice, Samsey. If you went Verstappen, Piastri, would you who would I 2x? I would probably just autopilot that, Joe. I might go Verstappen there. Currently playing Verstappen, Antonelli, Sainz, Behrman, Bortoleto, Ferrari, Mercedes, which didn't perform too bad in Mexico, but scares me for Brazil. I have 2 free transfers. What do you think, Ewan? What do I think, Quasar? That's a great question. I would get McLaren in. I would do something to get McLaren into that team. So whether it's like Antonelli to Sainz and Ferrari to McLaren, you got to do what you got to do. But I would definitely get McLaren in there. I appreciate that, Benaz. I can make Norris, Piastri, McLaren, Mercedes with Alpine. Alonso, Gasly, Colapip. I've taken -10. Worth it? Probably, yeah. Having triple McLaren is probably going to be good. Crazy, but it might just work as the story of the season. Sure is, Emo Phillips. Norris, Piastri, Sainz, Alonso, Gasly, McLaren, Mercedes, or Norris, Russell, Bortoleto, Alonso, Gasly, McLaren, Mercedes. I'd probably go with the first option. Whatever costs the fewest transfers there. Norris, Piastri, Alonso, or Norris, Russell, Alonso, or Norris, Russell, Behrman. Norris, Piastri, Alonso. Hey man, I had Max, Ant, Sainz, Colapinto, Hadjar with McLaren and Ferrari with 2 free transfers. I'm thinking Ferrari to Mercedes and Colapinto, Behrman. Might use also news. No negative thoughts. Any better alternatives? Maybe Hadjar to Behrman. I'm not super sold on Racing Bulls right now. So, like, I feel like they've kind of plateaued in the last few races. Hadjar is still, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets into Q3 later today because he is, like, by far the best. Well, yeah, this is a great question, Zen. Best tier break constructor, 8 minutes ago, 81 votes. Haas, 40%. Racing Bulls, 30%. Sauber, 26%. Alpine, 5%. The hate for Alpine has gone too far. No, I'm just kidding. Alpine is definitely not the best B tier constructor or tier B constructor. I'm going to end the poll here because I just got inspired. Got inspired by your comment here, Zen95, so I appreciate it. I'm not even going to say it out loud like I usually do because I don't want it to spoil the surprise. Let's see here. And here are your 4 options. Who has been the best rookie qualifier in 2025? Like, I think I'd say Hadjar based on the car he has, but let me know in the comments. In the comments and the poll. So, as I desperately try to catch up to y'all. All right. But yes, I think you've got the... I would get Ferrari out for Mercedes and Colapinto to Behrman, or maybe Hadjar to Behrman, if possible. Norris, Antonelli, Alonso, Gasly, and Colapinto, or Norris, Sainz, Tsunoda, Alonso, Behrman. Yeah, double Alpine's not great, so I would go with the second team there. Keep 1 transfer, use it to switch from Russell to Piastri. I'm not sure if there's a big enough difference between Russell and Piastri this week, and then you can save a transfer for Vegas because you might just be using that transfer to bring Russell back in for Piastri anyway. And with Piastri on for a price drop, you might be losing a little bit of budget there that could become crucial at the final 3 races of the season. So I think I'd be willing to kind of save that transfer for Russell. It's maybe a little bit passive, but yeah, that's kind of where I would go. Hold on, I gotta switch this thing around because, after we go down past an hour, we're less than an hour until the deadline, everybody. So that's fun. But you know this, it drives me weird. Drives me crazy. There we go. So now it looks nice, and I think it looks nice. Oh, man. I gotta make this look good. Gotta make this look good. There we go. Much better. Perfect. Well, not perfect, but better. All right, so we are 55 minutes to go. All right. That is with wildcard or save for later, says Ospina Tech. Yeah, drop that wildcard. Thanks for answering. Would Behrman be better than Science for budget preservation? Yes, he definitely would be. Use Limitless this week or save for Qatar? Depends what other chips you have, SCPR, but if that's like the most powerful chip you have left, I'd probably... I mean, Qatar is just going to be dry and probably more predictable than Brazil, where there's all this rain, but this week, if you're using it, I would go triple McLaren, triple Mercedes, Max Verstappen. I would avoid Ferrari. But Qatar could be triple McLaren, and then you could have Russell, Verstappen, Ferrari, and Ferrari, or something like that. So it could get a little bit different, but the earlier you use Limitless, the better. Hold on McLaren, Verstappen, Sainz, Borletto options. Norris, Behrman, Kick, or Antonelli, Gasly, Mercedes. Probably Antonelli, Gasly, Mercedes. Lawson to Sainz or Alonso? Sainz for me, SM0010. My team is Verstappen, Leclerc, Sainz, Lawson, Borletto, McLaren, Mercedes, 0.0. And budget, free tweet transfers. Would you do Verstappen to Norris and downgrade Lawson to Alpine driver? I have 2 chips and have no negative left. Would you use it? I would use no negative. And yeah, I probably would go Lawson to Colapinto and Verstappen to Norris. So we're thinking of swapping Max to Norris even with the rain incoming. I don't know how much rain there's going to be. That's the problem. So, but from what I've seen, Lando Norris is also not bad in the wet. He's not Max Verstappen good in the wet, but I don't think it's going to be an entire weekend of rain. So if we get a little bit of like a wet qualifying, but a dry Sunday, I still think Lando has enough. It's going to be tough to get past Max Verstappen, but I think McLaren has the pace. The slight thing that has now slightly changed my thinking, not by a lot, is that Yuki Tsunoda is now starting from the pit lane in the sprint. So that kind of gives me pause because now Red Bull almost gets like a free testing session over McLaren. Like Red Bull could like try this for 12 laps. Oh, that's not working. Come in and pit Yuki. And then they could put a whole new compound of tire. If they're just going to sacrifice Yuki Tsunoda for this weekend for Max Verstappen to have a chance at staying in the championship, changes my thinking a little bit. But like I've said a couple of times already on this stream, hope is not a strategy. So I'm going to still roll with Lando. He looks strong. He's driving so well right now. Like even in Austin, I think he was the fastest man on track. It just took him a little bit of time to get past Charles Leclerc. Just still a little bit too passive in turn 1. But if Lando reaches turn 1 first, like, I don't know. He's very dominant. Like I wasn't going to say what I think you guys thought I was going to say, but he's very, very good at converting turn 1 leads into wins. At least he has been recently. Marino Santil says, I have Lando and Mercedes. Is it crazy to run Oscar plus Max plus Alonso with autopilot and Aston at -10? Really not a huge fan of Aston Martin as a constructor this weekend. So especially for the -10, it's probably taking away, like could be building an extra hole that you have to dig out of to get when you're getting rid of Lando Norris. Ollie Who says, if I could roll a free transfer, if I just swap Leclerc for Russell and team would be Verstappen, Russell, Antonelli, Bortoletto, Sainz, McLaren, Racing Bulls, or is it worth it to get Mercedes as a constructor? Yes, it would be worth it to get Mercedes as a constructor if that's how you would be using your third free transfer. Okay, using no negative, Verstappen, Russell, Behrman, Bortoletto, Sainz, Alonso, McLaren, Red Bull, or Verstappen, Norris, 2 times Alpine. McLaren, Mercedes is the way to go. Pretty much lock that in. Norris, Kimi, Alonso, Behrman, Bortoletto, McLaren, Mercedes, 2 transfers. Thinking on what to do. Probably nothing. Playing in a private league. Money. Second currently by 40 points. My current concern is to have enough budget to 3x Qatar. Thoughts? Then do whatever you got to do to get that budget for Qatar. Norris, Antonelli, Bortoleto, Behrman, all in a very good spot to at least rise a little bit. Alonso is going to fall 0.6, but you can probably take that on the chin. Limitless this week or safe for Qatar. Did I not answer that? I thought I answered that. Poor Yuki. First they got to pick him up at the airport. Now he's being used again big. He sure is. Have McLaren, Red Bull, Verstappen, Antonelli, Tsunoda. What would you do? I would get Red Bull out for Mercedes and then upgrade Verstappen to Norris. Norris and Antonelli or Piastri and Russell. Very close. Very close. Henry, good question. I kind of like the way that the Piastri Russell sets you up a little bit more for Vegas, but the ceiling of Norris is a little bit tough to pass on. Like there is part of me in the back of my head that's like, well, Piastri could just like he looked stronger in free practice for the first 45 minutes, and then Lando came out of nowhere, but then Lando looked stronger for the entire session of sprint qualifying. So all I can really do is go with what the stats say, what the debrief says. Like we're looking here, McLaren in race simulation, pretty strong. Not feeling bad about that at all. Qualifying simulation, McLaren, Mercedes is ahead. We know that this championship has been depending a lot on qualifying. So there's not a lot of, oh my goodness. Like it could, like we've seen tier B drivers stay up in the top 3, the top 4, the top 5 after a good qualifying. So I don't want to like just discount a qualifying. So I think I would, I think I've just wrapped myself into a pretzel. So I go Norris and Antonelli, but Piastri, Russell might set you up better for Vegas. Alonso, McLaren, Mercedes, Verstappen, Antonelli, Bodeman, what to do? You've got McLaren, you've got Mercedes, you've got Verstappen, Antonelli, Tsunoda. I would probably go like Tsunoda to Alonso and Verstappen to Norris. Is Sainz worth keeping with him starting in the pit lane? Sure, why not? I mean, 0 points is better than negative points, but it's not great. But crazier things have happened. All it takes is one safety car, and then we're rocking and rolling with Carlos Sainz and Yuki Tsunoda. Norris, Hadjar, Sainz, Bortoleto, McLaren, Mercedes plus Behrman or Alonso. Behrman for budget, Alonso for points. But what's the latest weather prediction? It doesn't look that bad. Like there's going to be rain and it's a little bit damp, but the cyclone that they were thinking about is not like happening as bad as they thought, I believe, according to what I'm seeing on the Twitterazzi. So I don't know. I would probably like it's going to be a swingy result based on the weather, but I think the weather is going to play nice. I don't think we're going to be in as much trouble as we thought we were going to be with the weather like earlier this weekend. But let's see. So 63% chance of precipitation, lots of storms, but the wind is not as bad as we thought it was going to be. And then it looks like it's drying out in the afternoon. So like say Verstappen does pick up like 6-7 points in the sprint and he gets a couple of overtakes and ends up 3rd or 4th and actually scores more points than Lando. With how it's looking for the rest of the weekend, I still think Lando will come out on top with a semi-dry qualifying. And then tomorrow in the race, if we go here to the hourly forecast, the race is at 2 p.m. tomorrow. It's looking pretty dry. Like there's a alert for a storm, but right now 0% chance of precipitation. A little bit windy, but I'm just gonna, yeah. I wish I just locked in my team already because now I'm starting to second guess myself a tiny bit. But let's get back up into the chat here. Best rookie qualifier in 2025, according to 92 votes 11 minutes ago. Hadjar, 61%, Antonelli, 21%, Behrman, 12%, and Bortoletto, 7%. There we go. Let's see. Let's go back up here. Formula Fantasy Hub is here. Ewan, I'm at a wedding, absolutely neck deep into adult beverages and not sure if I'm getting autopilot, if I'm going autopilot or not. Will do. Our probs will. I still feel like it's probably the better weekend to play it, Rob. I would go for it, especially when you had a few beverages. You're feeling a little loosey-goosey in the body. So just make some loosey-goosey decisions. I think I would play the autopilot chip. I think I'm going to play the autopilot chip. So go for it. But Ivor, I just discussed the weather, so hopefully that helped. I think someone actually asked me about the weather. If only I was brave enough to do triple McLaren, double Alpine, and Chad Lonzo in the middle. That would be bold. 2x Norris with a -10 to swap from Leclerc to Piastri. Yeah, do that. Hi, would you trade Alonso to Gasly for this race just to be able to afford Norris plus Russell, line up for Vegas and onwards? Yes, I would do that because Alpine's going to suck in Vegas, right? But I'm pretty sure Aston Martin is also going to suck. So to get Norris and Russell in the squad this week, where Russell is probably going to be quite good in Vegas as well, feels like a win. Feels like a good 2-week transfer. And then you don't have, then you can deal with other problems in Vegas. The real question is, how do I sabotage my T2 squad so that my T1 actually have a chance here? That's a great point. You got to reverse jinx your T2 squad. Zamanur says, what do you think? Norris, Antonelli, Bortoletto, Alonso, Sainz, McLaren, Mercedes, and did you see the red weather code for Brazil? I did, but everything seems to be pointing towards it's not going to be that bad, actually. So I'm going to trust the boots on the ground and go with it there. But whenever is anyone going to be watching the pre-race coverage? So maybe if anyone is watching the pre-race coverage, let us know what it looks like there. We would greatly appreciate it over here at F1 Fantasy Pole Position. Wet track and windy, but no rain at the moment, says Sam. Just read my mind, Samsy. Wow, that's impressive. The Flame 9988 says, hey, Ewan, do you think it's worth swapping out Sainz for Alonso this week? Also considering whether or not to no negative or 3x. I'm pretty much not into using transfers on tier B assets moving forward, unless it's just like an insane outlier. Like even with Sainz starting from the pit lane, there could be a safety car. Something weird could happen, but he's not going to score negative points. So I feel okay about that. Just quickly checking in on the Man United's up 1-0. Brian Mbuemo. All right. Oh, well, since we've got Formula Fantasy Hub Rob in the chat here, he just dropped his lineup. So let's go check it out real quick, shall we? I think he's the first of the content creators to drop their lineup here. My F1 Fantasy team, Brazilian Grand Prix, Verstappen to Norris, Leclerc to Russell, Red Bull to Mercedes. We're just doing the same thing again, Rob. How am I supposed to catch you if you keep doing the same thing that I was thinking? But yeah, that's the smart move, and I'm probably going to do it. The McLaren and Mercedes double up seems like the prudent play at a wedding, so very limited online availability pre-deadline. We'll miss the sprint quali due to time zones, autopilot to be confirmed. Good luck, everyone. Yes, good luck to you too, Rob. But yes, there we go. The first of the content creator dominoes to fall. Actually, I'm pretty sure I saw Coffee Corner Motorsport, Terry, who's part of the Fantasy Formula. I think his team was there. There we go. All locked in. Norris, Sainz, Russell, Colapinto, Alonso, McLaren, and Mercedes for Terry. That's a pretty tasty lineup there. 2 of 2. He got there in 2 transfers as well. Great job by Terry. Alrighty, here we are. My tea is actually kind of cold now, so that's a bummer. All right. Norris plus Antonelli or Piastri plus Russell. Oh my goodness, I need to write this down. I feel like I switch and swerve on everything here. I think I'm going Norris Antonelli on that. Helifco says, great in June, although Piastri Russell does set you up better for Vegas. I'm pretty sure that's what I've been saying, right, guys? Greetings, Ewan. I'm going with Norris, Antonelli, Bortoletto, Behrman, Gasly, McLaren, Mercedes with no negative chips. What do you think? A++, 2 thumbs up. I like that. The team I'm leaning towards is Norris, Antonelli, Gasly, Sainz, Tsunoda, McLaren, Mercedes, 5.9 in back for 3x, swapping out Max, Red Bull, and Lawson, taking a -10. I would get Lawson out of there. I don't love Tsunoda, but I see what you're doing. I also have both Sainz and Alonso in team. Which would you switch for budget in the long run? I'm assuming I keep one for next race as well. I would keep Sainz. I'd get rid of Alonso. We kind of went over that a little bit earlier, Matt, which, I mean, you're joining the stream right now, so thank you for joining the stream right now. But Alonso, pretty much no matter what, is like probably going to be a transfer out next week in Vegas, in my opinion. Where are we? I missed the question. All right. Thinking Red Bull to Mercedes and Verstappen to Norris. Do I take it to... I would not take a -10 to get away from any of the Tier B assets. I think my strategy is delusion and vibes. There we go. Who should we all be wanting in our teams for next race at Las Vegas? Maybe not McLaren, but probably Mercedes. They've been pretty strong there. Last year, they were phenomenal. Lawson to Sainz or Alonso? Sainz. Now that you start from the pit lane, but... I don't know. Sainz probably is a better long-term asset for me. Joel says, currently have Verstappen, Sainz, blah, 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 blah. Switching to Norris, Russell, Gasly, Colapinto, Bortoleto, McLaren. 4 transfers in. Ooh, -20. Yikes. That's a lot of points. I like the no negative chip. I'm not a huge fan of that -20, though, Joel. No negative November. Oh, yeah. There we go. Look at that. Love a good alliteration. Trixie Bovices. Hi again. Do you think final fix could be a possibility this weekend? It could be, but if you are waiting to use your final fix, that means you cannot use another chip. You cannot use 2 chips in the same weekend in F1 Fantasy. So you could, but I guess depending on how this kind of weird testing session that Yuki Tsunoda is about to do for Red Bull, that could make the final fix a little bit nice. Say if you have like a Lando Norris to a Max Verstappen or something like that. Okay. 3x or autopilot with Norris, Antonelli, or save final fix. I probably wouldn't autopilot with Norris and Antonelli just because I think Norris is going to outscore him, barring some DNFs. But 3x is also a little bit risky with the rain, so I guess maybe I'd save the final fix. Like, I was literally just saying that, Cam. So, like, if Verstappen all of a sudden looks phenomenal in qualifying, it looks like they fixed something with the car, then maybe Norris to Verstappen and a final fix move could be handy next week. Currently 3rd in my league and have the most budget compared to others. Differential play. There you go. Then, yeah. Then don't... Yeah, maybe if you have enough of a lead, then you're fine. I'm wondering about the no neg card. Kept them for this race. There's going to be some rain this weekend, so I would just use it this weekend. Would you take a hit of -10 for switching Russell to Piastri? Probably not, especially with Vegas on the horizon. Why doesn't anyone believe Max can do it? Also, is it worth to get -20 to get Piastri and Russell? I have Max and Leclerc. I'm not saying that Max can't do it. It just seems like all the evidence is pointing towards McLaren is really on it in the dry, and it doesn't look like it's going to be that wet. This is Brazil, though, so Brazil's weather can change like that. But right now, we can't, like, add one to the counter. But hope is not a strategy, so we cannot just hope that it's going to rain. All I can kind of do is look at the forecast. It looks like it's going to be dry. It looks like it's going to be a little bit windy. It looks like the sprint might be okay. And I'm just going to be going with Lando Norris because it feels good. If you had to lock in right now, who would you... who would you be putting in? Feels weird not putting Max in at Brazil after last year. I agree, but it looks like it's not going to be the same Brazil as last year. Do you think this is the weekend to play no negative? You still have it? Yes, I do, Cole. Norris, Antonelli, and autopilot? I would maybe hold off on that. Leclerc, Gasly, Sainz, Piastri, Tsunoda, McLaren, Sauber, what to do? Tsunoda down to Alonso and oh, well, that's Piastri there. Okay, Tsunoda to... Oh, damn, that's tough. Tsunoda to Stroll and Leclerc to Russell. Norris plus Piastri or Norris plus Russell. For this weekend, Norris plus Piastri, but long-term, probably Norris plus Russell just because of Vegas on the horizon. No negative autopilot or 3x, no negative for me, Asin. Hold on McLaren, Verstappen, Sainz, Bortoleto. Options: Norris, Behrman, Kick, or Antonelli, Gasly, Mercedes. Antonelli, man. Antonelli, Gasly, Mercedes for me. Should I get -10 to switch Charles to Russell? That is close. That is very close. It doesn't take a lot for that to work, but it's risky. Who would you pick for Limitless, asks Aurelia. Triple McLaren, triple Mercedes, Max Verstappen. Do. But back to this question. Maybe I would, just for Vegas, because you'd have Russell for Vegas. No negative team: Norris, Verstappen, Alonso, Sainz, Hadjar with McLaren, Aston Martin. Not bad, Droovy. I don't mind that at all. I was just asking about the weather because I am happy to have an unused no negative chip. Of course. But I think there's going to be enough weather this weekend, Urban, that it's worth it. Like, that's why I played mine in Spa. It looked like it was going to rain. It did rain, but then the FIA was like, oh no, we'll just delay it so it's like damp, but not actually like matters to the race at all. And I saved a whole 4 points. So as long as you save some points, then I guess that's a successful use of the chip. And I think you're probably going to end up saving some of it this weekend, especially if you have like Alonso in your team. Say he loses a point or two in today's sprint by dropping a couple places, then like that's going to be a 0. He's not going to lose those points for you. Please take this. Leclerc, Sainz, Tsunoda, Piastri, Gasly, and McLaren and Sauber. Leclerc to Russell would be a good move, and Tsunoda to Stroll. I don't really hate that much. My other team is Verstappen, Antonelli, Behrman, Sainz, Bortoleto, McLaren, Mercedes, 0 in the bank, 3 free transfers, Verstappen, Norris, Sainz to Alonso, wildcard, no negative, and 3x left. Would you no negative? I would no negative. Yes. 3x or autopilot with Norris and Antonelli. Can I say neither? But if I had to, I guess I would do autopilot, but I don't really love it. I don't really love either of them. Verstappen, Leclerc, Bortoleto, Lawson, Gasly, McLaren, Mercedes, 2 free transfers, 0.6 million left. What's your suggestion? Leclerc to Russell and Lawson to Alonso. Boom. There you go. I put 25 on Max for a $250 payout. Was too tempting, especially with the wet track, seeing as Max went 17th first in Brazil last year. Yes, well, those are pretty good odds. I'll give you that one. Bortoleto, Alonso, or Sainz, Alonso? If you need points, I may go Sainz, Alonso, but if you need budget, I'd probably go Bortoleto, Alonso. Would you take a 10-point hit to swap Alonso for Behrman with the 1.2 budget gain? That is a great question. It depends how desperately you need it. Are you using it to set up for Qatar? Then yes, but I don't love it because I don't love taking hits for T or B drivers, but Behrman is pretty much guaranteed to rise and Alonso is pretty much guaranteed to fall. So I understand the use of the chip there. What's the best B tier constructor for this weekend? We all voted, and I believe it was Haas, but I think I did not put Aston Martin on there. So I'd probably say Aston Martin. Right now, Isaac Hadjar is leading the poll by 57% to Antonelli's 23%, Behrman's at 14%, and Bortoleto is at 6%. All right, let's end this poll and let's get into best tier A driver this weekend. Our best tier A driver combo this weekend. Russ. Alrighty, best tier A driver combo this weekend. Norris plus Piastri, or Norris plus Russell, Verstappen plus Piastri, Norris plus Piastri, or Verstappen plus Russell. Let me know in the poll. There we go. Vote away. Sainz could score 15 points if he pulls some overtakes in the sprint. That would be nice. We just need a rolling start or something to help him out there a little bit. -10 for Max to Lando? Probably not. Behrman to Bortoleto? Budget Behrman? Maybe points Behrman as well. Same current lineup as you, but with only 2 free transfers. Thoughts? Red Bull to Mercedes and Leclerc to Piastri. Russell plus Sainz or Piastri plus Alonso? Whew, that is tough. Probably Piastri plus Alonso. F1 TV just confirmed there was rain, though not as much as expected, and the track is drying. We saw how Red Bull looked in the dry. They did not look good. Verstappen and Red Bull to Norris and Norris and Mercedes worth it? Asked Jeff. Yes, that's what I'm doing. Is it safe to say we can use no negative this weekend, Autopilot Vegas, and 3x Qatar? Yeah, that's a great chip strategy. The Flame 988. These are the two options I'm thinking. Norris signs Hadjar Bortoleto McLaren plus Behrman Mercedes, or Piastri plus Kick. Behrman plus Mercedes. Worth taking a negative 20. Taking out Sonoda would bring me up to negative 20. Then no, Mr. Zakacha. I would not do that. Should I take a negative 10 to go Norris, Russell from Verstappen, Antonelli, Sonoda, and Autopilot, or stay with Verstappen and Antonelli for sprint and final fix to save negative 10? If you have the budget, then sure, maybe Verstappen can get a couple of overtakes. It's not too bad. Yeah, Antonelli, yeah, that's not bad. Negative 10 to get McLaren, Mercedes to Red Bull, Ferrari, and Piastri, or Mercedes, Ferrari, and Norris. No, keep McLaren and Mercedes, Mark. That's what I would do. Two tier A constructors or two tier A drivers or constructors. By the way, love your content and what you've done with your channel. I appreciate that, Ospina Tech. But yes, two tier A constructors would be more important. And for this weekend, they would be McLaren and Mercedes. If I'm going Max Russ, thinking to hold Autopilot to Vegas or final race, thoughts? Yeah, that's a great shout, Ali. Yeah, if you don't want to use it this weekend, then go for it. Even though there might be rain, but Verstappen and Russell should be okay in the rain. Is it worth keeping Sonoda or just replace him with Behrman? I would replace him with Behrman. My three team options I'm tying with are Verstappen, Antonelli, Sainz. Whoa. Okay, so not McLaren and Kick. Probably. I kind of like the first option the best. I have McLaren, Mercedes, and Norris. Alonso, I don't have any transfers left, but we'd take a negative 10 Sonoda for anyone. I also have 0 in the bank, so probably not. No. Sainz's pit start still looks good for overtakes. He looks less good, but we're also dealing with a tier B asset. 0 points is not the end of the world for a tier B asset, so I don't mind that at all. Norris, Russell, Sainz, Alonso, Gasly, Mercedes, and McLaren locked in. Let's get that goosey. Nice. I love that. Am I gonna have to make that my catchphrase? Let's get that goosey. Not bad actually. I kind of like that. Norris plus Leclerc plus Colapinto. I like that. Verstappen, Russell, Hadjar, Alonso, Behrman, or Verstappen, Antonelli, Albon, Alonso, Behrman. Go with Verstappen, Russell, although I don't really love Hadjar. Drivers out on track with slicks. Thank you, Mr. Costa. That is great info to know. Points aside, changeable condition would be much better for Sunday than super wet. Probably red flag condition. Yeah, that would be lame. Verstappen, Behrman there, New York Yankees, 96. That's all I'll say to you, Mr. New York Yankees, 96. But yep, just kidding. Verstappen, Antonelli, Sonoda, Sainz, Lawson, McLaren, Red Bull, 2 free transfers. What should I do? Sonoda to Alonso, or Red Bull to Mercedes, and man, I would maybe take a hit there. Maybe do like Red Bull to Mercedes, Sonoda to Alonso. Oh no, you got Antonelli. Damn, that's a good question. Where did it go? I'd get rid of Lawson. Have I been blowing this mic up the entire time? Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'd probably get rid of Sonoda and Lawson if you could, but also Red Bull. Red Bull to Mercedes feels like a good move. Maybe Lawson to Stroll. Should I take a negative 10 to get rid of Sonoda? Depends what it's for. If it's for Antonelli, sure. If it's for Behrman, maybe. If it's for anybody else, I'm not so sure. 3x Max and 2x Antonelli, save Limitless for Qatar, or use Limitless now despite weather and use 3x Qatar. Just depending on your budget, SCPR, but I kind of like Limitless this weekend because it seems like McLaren and Mercedes are pretty much set and forget. All right, let's make the T3 team here. They're saying Mercedes and Verstappen. This one is saying Norris and Sonoda. 261. Why can't I? do something different here. Red Bull to, or maybe I keep Red Bull in. This is for the George Russell Mini League, so I can get a little differential here if I would like. So Bortoleto, what do I want to do here? Well, that's not really a bad differential lineup, actually. But I could go Bortoleto to who? Who would I go to here? Bortoleto. I kind of want to get different, but maybe I'll just keep that squad. Keep that squad and use the no negative, and we'll get super weird with it there as well. And then we're going over the T1 squad, the moves that I have been thinking about making. I'm just going to, there's no new sims, right? There hasn't been any updated data. Just asking the chat real quick. Looking at the best Tier A driver combo this weekend, Norris plus Russell is at 50%, Norris plus Piastri 28%, Verstappen plus Piastri 9%, Verstappen plus Russell 13%. Whew, ooh la la. 25 minutes to go, everybody. I hope you guys are all doing well on this lovely Saturday, or maybe Sunday. Might be Sunday some places now. All right, we are looking ahead to 2026. Do you think Newey can deliver a championship level car for Fernando? I don't know. It would be kind of fun, but that's a lot of work to do in a short amount of time. I mean, the new regs are coming along, so it does make for a big change, but it'd be quite a story. But I don't think so, because I think Newey can get the car there. I'm just worried that maybe Alonso's driving capabilities, like, what's it going to be, like 44? Like, we got to consider age at some point with this guy. It would be hilarious if Lance Stroll just, like, suddenly showed up out of nowhere. That hurts, says New York Yankees 96. I'm sorry, New York Yankees 96. Tomorrow rain? It doesn't look like it. I also need to set up for 3x guitars, as Mr. Sakacha. So yes, like having McLaren in, but you also, like, problem is McLaren might not be that good in Vegas. However, if you go with double McLaren, double Mercedes, then you're kind of hedging your bets. Like, they have like they've had the strongest Friday here in Brazil, and they could still look okay in Vegas, but we know that Mercedes can look really good. And so then it's like, you don't really need to flip or flop too much when you get to Vegas. Why don't you keep up with the 4A Qatar budget? I'm also trying to maximize points to take back first in a private lead. Would you trade signs to Alonso with my third free transfer be bad? It might not be as bad anymore with this pit lane start, but it could be something that we need to think about. I don't think I'd do it. I think I'd prefer the third free transfer. Thank you for the advice this weekend. I've chosen to do a very risky budget play, hoping Piastri or Russell doesn't rise too much. All right, Matt, good luck. Fingers crossed for you. So I keep Max in. That scares me considering no rain. I'm sorry, Mr. Zakacha. I have totally... Oh, here you are. Verstappen, Antonelli, Tsunoda. I mean, if you go Verstappen to Lando and Tsunoda down to Alonso, then that's a good decision as well. All right, where are we at? Norris plus Colapinto or Max plus Sainz? Probably Norris and Colapinto at this point. Hold on. McLaren, Mercedes, Sainz, Bortoleto, and either Verstappen or... So either end. Verstappen, Antonelli, Gasly, or Norris, Behrman, Hadjar. That's pretty close. Verstappen, Antonelli, Gasly is fine with there. What do you think? Norris, Piastri, Bortoleto, or Norris, Russell, Sainz? I prefer the no penalty one there, sir. What are we at? Alonso or Hadjar? Alonso. Norris plus Antonelli or Piastri plus Russell? I kind of like Piastri plus Russell for Vegas, but Norris plus Antonelli for this weekend. Is it worth getting off Hadjar for a -10? I would only be able to get Tsunoda or less. Maybe for Stroll, but that doesn't feel good, does it, Kieran? So I probably would just let it ride for now. Where are we at? Drew says, hi, I have 3 free transfers. Verstappen, Tsunoda, blah, 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 blah. Was thinking Verstappen, Antonelli, Bortoleto, Behrman, Tsunoda, McLaren, Mercedes. Also thinking no negative. Yes, use the no negative. And then, sure, yeah. Bortoleto, Berriman, Sonoda. That's not bad at all. Is it worth a no negative or a -10 for Verstappen to Norris? Probably not. That's where you could be like really hurting yourself. Because in the Sims, it's like just under 5 points difference or just over 5 points difference. So that you could feel a little bit stupid if you took a hit to get someone that scores less points. Is no negative still a good idea? I think there's probably enough rain or just enough jeopardy of DNF. Like, we've had some dry races here. Alex Albon hasn't made it past turn 1 in either of the last 2 seasons here, and one of them was dry. I didn't even start last year. So just hitting the no negative this weekend is a-okay. Let's go check what our friends over on the interwebs are doing with F1 Fantasy. It's going to be a dry sprint race, says F1 Big Data. So there we go. Who else have we got here? Team locked, autopilot activated, says Zach GP. Going for triple McLaren because I'm using autopilot and from looking at potential Vegas teams after Brazil, I don't need the extra 0.4 that Behrman can bring over Gasly, which makes it easier to choose my team. So he's going Norris, Piastri, McLaren, Mercedes, Gasly, Colapinto, Alonso. Nice moves by Zach GP, which means that Adam's team should be down here. Here we look. Switching from Max to Norris with the hopes of Lando's dominant form for Mexico continues to Sao Paulo. Sainz stays on the team as he attempts to gain positions in the sprint. Meanwhile, double Alpine means I'll have heartburn all weekend. What are you going with this weekend? Let's see your team in the comments. That is pretty nice. All right. I'm going to lock in my team, guys. We are 19 minutes to go. OTB87 says, thank you for the deadline stream. My team is locked. Enjoy. Fingers crossed for you, OTB87. 137.4 budget for Verstappen, Leclerc, Sainz, Bortoleto, Gasly, McLaren, Mercedes. 3 transfers, autopilot, limitless available. Verstappen to Lando, Leclerc to Piastri, or Russell. Leclerc to Piastri is very nice. Yeah. Verstappen to Lando and Leclerc to Piastri. Yeah. Love that. Go for it. Autopilot, I'm probably going to do it. Should I keep Yuki in or swap to Behrman? Would be the only transfer I'm looking at besides doing Red Bull to Mercedes. I like that G-Money 05. Verstappen, Leclerc, Red Bull for Norris, Verstappen. That's what I'm doing, Chris. And let's get this show on the road right now. Verstappen, Leclerc, and Red Bull for Lando, for George, and for Mercedes. Bada bing, bada boom. Going to put the DRS on Mr. Lando Norris. Going to apply the autopilot chip because it's pretty much as good as it's going to get. There we go. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. And confirm. So the team is good to go. I'm going to take a little screenshot here. You know, I got to send out my little tweet. People love a good lineup tweet. That's what I've learned on the tweeters after all these years. People love a good lineup tweet. So I've got this all saved. Once I get this out, guys, I will be all yours for the final 18, 17 minutes of the deadline for F1 Fantasy at the Brazilian Grand Prix. So here we go. The lineup is locked for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Spider-Man meme all over for some content creators, but it's nice to have an obvious tier A constructor combo for once. All over the place for some content creators, but it's nice to have, all over the place for F1 fantasy managers. But it's nice to have an obvious tier A constructor combo for once. Good luck, everyone. See y'all on the other side. And then I insert the picture that I'm pretty sure I took. Is that it there? The lineup is locked for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Is that how you spell Brazilian? Yes. Spider-Man meme all over the place for F1 fans. It's nice to have it. Post. Okay. Now I am all yours. It has been done. Oh, people are asking me questions on X, but yeah. Sometimes the smart play is the obvious play. Sometimes, or the obvious play is the smart play. Sometimes the obvious play is the smart play. I think that's about the 7th saying I've messed up in these hour and 45 minutes. So I am just absolutely flying. Okay, Alonso or Sainz? Sainz long term. How are you splitting your game/race watch? It's a great question, Michael. This is a great question. How am I going to split up watching the Brazilian Grand Prix while Liverpool thrash Man City at the Etihad? Well, Liverpool will be like 3-0 up by 30 minutes. So maybe I'll just have that on the second screen and I can just watch the Brazilian Grand Prix easy peasy and just like have my heart rate go up for that. Teams locked in, another great stream. Go City, says Michael. Yeah, but we'll see. So on the fence about no negative. Sorry, I've been discussed, just tuned in. No, hit it, Dane. Hit that no negative because there is some weather coming around this weekend. Also, all three of my teams are playing a chip this weekend. Interesting. McLaren, Mercedes, Norris, Antonelli, Sainz, Gasly, Colapinto, or McLaren, Mercedes, Norris, Antonelli, Alonso, Gasly, Hadjar. I prefer the second team, Lancer. Is it worth to play 3x Norris, 2x Antonelli now, or wait for the chip in Qatar? I would wait for the chip in Qatar, Dan. That is what I would do. Norris plus Piastri or Norris plus Verstappen. Based on what I have seen, what I've been watching, I would go Norris plus Piastri. But if you do want to hedge yourself against the weather a little bit, Norris Verstappen those are both great options. Would maybe lean towards Norris Verstappen, but Norris Piastri could be really good. Thank you so much for the streams. I'm following F1 for the first time this year, and you make it so much more fun and goosey. Thank you. I really that's a great comment. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the support, and thank you for watching. Transfer out Max or Yuki? I'm panicking. Don't transfer out. Well, I'd transfer out Yuki for sure. So don't worry, Mr. Kacha. No changes for my team and my squad. Visited Milan this weekend. Ooh, very, very nice, Mac Attack. Any going to the San Siro? There should be some Serie A games going on this weekend. But Milan is a really nice place. Yeah, they got all the cathedrals and stuff and fashion. Not that I'm really into it. And you'll have plenty of opportunity to buy some F1 gear if you would like. I'm very tempted to go Norris, Piastri, Colapinto over Norris, Russell, Bortoleto. Please convince me why I should go with the latter. Well, I went with the latter, so that's what I would say to convince you, paper cranes. But Norris, Piastri, Colapinto is not a bad shout. I just think Bortoleto has an elevated chance at driver of the day, is in a better car than Colapinto, so not bad at all. Sainz or Behrman, who gets more points? It could be Sainz, but Behrman he can get some points as well, and he has a better odds at not falling in budget. There we go. That's what an F1 fantasy content creator should know. The phrases. Still 125 of y'all are watching, so if you haven't done so yet, just give it a thumbs up. Give it a quick old thumbs up. That's all I'm asking. You don't even have to subscribe, but if you want a question asked, you do have to subscribe. So thank you for that. Hi, Ewan. I want to get from Ferrari and Red Bull to McLaren Mercedes to facilitate. Should I go from Sainz to Gasly or Sonoda to Behrman Gasly? Sonoda to Behrman for sure. Team Locked, your channel saves me weekly. Thank you so much for stellar content. You are very welcome. Maisha, thank you for tuning in. Is it worth it to play 3x? 3x Norris, 2x Verstappen? It could be a nice hedge if there's like a kind of damp/wet track. So I don't mind it. It's not a bad shout at all. Sammy says W stream. I think that's what the kids mean. That means good, right, Sammy? So 13 minutes left. Good luck, everyone. Max and Norris for -10. It's really, really close. It just kind of depends on if you can stomach it. I don't think I could. I think I would probably just stick with Max, but I had 3 free transfers, so I was able to do that. Hadjar or Alonso, asks Mark. I would say Hadjar. Oh, no. I would say Alonso. Oh, my goodness, my brain. Got nothing in my brain. So I guess I need some food after this. Even though I just had lunch like 2 hours ago, but I'm a grown boy. Bortoleto or Stroll? That's also really tough. I think I would... Hold on. Let's see. My rankings should be coming up here in the top right corner in about 30 seconds. So let's see together, FIFO. Okay. Here we go. After these post-sprint quali, even with the budget drop, yes, because honestly, like Hadjar is also on for a budget drop. Like, who knows? I might keep Yuki in. I need budget. Fair enough. Fair enough. That's fine. What do my rankings say? I have Stroll above Bortoleto by 1 point or 1 space. So I guess that's what I would go with. Okay. Deep breaths. We went way past 3,900 subscribers. So you guys absolutely crushed it again. I'm not really surprised, but like it was 2 or 3 races ago where I was like, okay, guys, we need 50 subscribers every race week from now until the end of the season to get to 4,000. And with the rate that y'all are subscribing and liking the videos and with how much content is coming out of the channel these days, we might get there by Vegas. I don't even know, which is phenomenal. So you guys have been absolutely killing it this season, subscribing and supporting the channel. And I really appreciate it. I really do. I hope I make that quite clear in my videos. And I try to respond to all the comments. And if I don't, I'm really sorry, but you can always hit me up on X, TikTok, whatever. My only thing is max poop for Lando would require a -10, but I think Lando is in for a win here. Max maybe a podium in the main race. Then that would probably cover the -10 there, Mr. Zakacha. Last part of team decision, I have your team, but Alonso versus Gasly. Worth saving a transfer for Vegas or take Gasly out to go down to Gasly and avoid drop? I would save the transfer. Just hold on to Alonso. He can score you some good points here, your boy Trav, and then bring him out for Vegas because I feel like Aston Martin are going to be quite bad in the desert in a couple of weeks' time. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. I'd probably save the transfer, give yourself some extra flexibility, and just take some Alonso points this weekend and be quite happy about it. So no problems there at all. Oh man. People are saying good luck. Here we go. Let's see. Do we have any other last second lineups? Oh, we got Pop Pan Man back. So Pop Pan Man is coming slowly back into the F1 Fantasy circles. So welcome back, Tom. I hope you're doing all right if you're just listening to this somehow, some way. Just one change for me. Hadjar moves aside for Sainz. Pretty happy to already have this week's template. Autopilot still in the bag for Vegas or Qatar. Good luck all. So yeah, I'm going to use the autopilot chip this week. I mean, I already have, so I can't really take it back, but I feel okay about it. With the rain, Russell and Norris are good wet weather drivers, but if something funky happens, then it's fine. We've got, like, autopilot is no guarantee that it is going to gain you any points, but it does protect you from some wacky weather. Like, this time, yeah, so 18 and a half hours ago, when I was recording my final thoughts video, everyone on the interwebs was like, it's definitely going to rain. There's a cyclone developing in Brazil right now. It's going to dump rain. It's like going to dump like 6 centimeters of rain on the track. And now the track is bone dry. So now, even though we're looking at the weather and it looks like it's going to be dry tomorrow, that could all change in 24 hours. So having the no negative is fine. Geronimo says, I've activated 3x and Norris and 2x on Russell. No risk, no gain. Let's go. Fingers crossed. I kind of like that bold move. Hold on McLaren, Mercedes, Sainz, Bortoleto, and either Verstappen, Antonelli, Gasly, or Norris, Behrman, Hadjar. Verstappen, Antonelli, Gasly for me. I really don't like Hadjar this weekend. Even though he got into SQ3, I don't know. There's something about the Racing Bulls that I'm not really vibing with all that much right now. The second best team I could have done is to keep Red Bull and bring in Alonso, but that's not really what I want to do. So the moves that I wanted to do ended up being on the calculator. But if I could have taken a -10, what would have it said? There, adding the Alonso move in there. I guess Piastri would, but why did I autopilot? Because there's going to be some weather in the air, and I just want to protect myself from a disastrous Brazil. Like, if someone has a really good weekend out of nowhere, then I want a part of it. If George Russell comes out of nowhere, and I think Lando Norris is going to, once we look at the elite data, when this lineup closes, or this lineup lock happens in about 6 minutes, it's a nice little protection. You never know. So it is like, I don't really think there's a better place that I'm going to play it because I have extra DRS available. Abu Dhabi would be kind of nice, but it's dry there. it is what it is. I'm okay playing the autopilot chip this weekend just to protect myself from a potentially disastrous situation that I really don't want to be a part of in F1 Fantasy. M. Dot says, hey, Ewan, Sainz pit lane start, so do we think he's a sell now? Tougher to make overtakes than if it stays dry. Max said it's dry everywhere on the track besides the main straight. Yes, but I don't want to take a -10 to take Carlos Sainz out, who could perfectly be fine in this. Who knows what happens in this race? But like, I think Williams will have taken some notes from the weekend or from yesterday, so they'll be better prepared for qualifying. I don't think Sainz will be that bad, but I don't think it's worth a -10 to bring him in for Alonso. I'm okay with it. I don't love it. But it is what it is. No Bearman asks Dean. Yeah, just couldn't get there. Yeah, just because of the way that Norris, Russell, Mercedes, and McLaren looks, I prioritized my 3 free transfers that I had on bringing in the better Tier A assets, in my opinion, which were Norris, Russell, and Mercedes over like a Max Verstappen, a Charles Leclerc, that kind of thing. Morning from the H, says Baldemar Garza 2055. Love the content. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Baldemar Garza 2055. Appreciate your support. Always. Gasly versus Hadjar. Gasly for me. I'm not going to lose. Okay, I'm not going for Alonso. He probably loses position in the sprint. Yeah, he's probably going to be on a -1, -2 after the sprint, so we'll see how that goes. Then if you had Final Fix and Autopilot, which one would you have used? Well, with the Final Fix, I guess I would wait, because if Verstappen looks good, or if this Yuki Tsunoda pseudo testing session they're about to do goes well, then maybe Max is in with a shout at the main race tomorrow, but who knows? Like right now, I know that Lando Norris looks like the best driver on the track for Brazil, and he did the same in whatchamacallit, Mexico. So yes, but Final Fix, if it all looks good, if we get some weather, then sure, Max Verstappen could be a great Final Fix opportunity tomorrow in F1 Fantasy. So I would use that, but I don't have Final Fix. I used it in Azerbaijan. Let's see. Norris, Antonelli, Alonso, Hadjar, 1 transfer versus Norris, Antonelli, Gasly, Bortoletto, Sainz, 3 transfers. I think I like the second option, Mark. Thanks for answering the question, man. Best of luck. I'm locking in the autopilot. Those are excellent. I really appreciate that. M. Dot, thank you for tuning in and watching the channel. Alligator6674. Great stream. Went with my gut. Max/Russ versus Norris, Antonelli. We will see. Fingers crossed, Alligator. I guess I'm kind of hoping that both of those go well, because I've got Russ and I've got Norris. So yeah, it's all good there. Whew, man, that was a crazy stream. You guys absolutely crushed it being here for 2 hours. But let's see here. Yes, we're slowly winding down here. Everyone's like, okay, I gotta go. So it's all good here. Let's see. For some reason my YouTube stream goes all the way behind sometimes, but there we are. So we are rocking and rolling for the final 2 minutes. Oh, I got a question. I don't want to leave this person hanging. All right. Giuseppe says, I'm using the Limitless. I got McLaren, Verstappen, Russell, and Leclerc. What team should I put? I would probably go triple McLaren, triple Mercedes, and Verstappen. I don't think I would go with Leclerc, Giuseppe. So that would be my kind of swerve on that. Alligator says, everyone like the stream before you go? Yes, yes, yes. Definitely drop a like. So best of luck to all people's fantasy teams. Yes. And yeah, guys, yeah, like I said, don't forget to like the video if you are watching, if you're tuning in. If for some reason you're watching this after the deadline, you just wanted to see me stress out a little bit about the decisions that I made. Although I wasn't really feeling that stressed. It was kind of like the more calm deadline for me. I guess the Carlos Sainz starting from a pit lane throws a little bit of a wrench into the works, but it is what it is. I think I got the best 3 very, very strong Tier A assets in my squad for this weekend. And like I usually say, is that means that I can go to bed tomorrow night with my head on the pillow thinking that I made the correct decisions. All right. Ciao, you, and great stream once again. Thank you, Dean. Thank you for the live. You're welcome, Giuseppe. Is no negative in play? Yes, because it's might slightly rain, and I just don't expect any weather in Vegas, Qatar, or Abu Dhabi that's going to hurt us all that much. Because if you use the no negative on a dry track, you're pretty much just hoping for a DNF. So that's kind of weird, and we don't really want that. So yeah, we are 30 seconds to go. Hopefully you guys are all doing well. Hopefully you guys all have a great weekend and score a bunch of points in F1 Fantasy. Norris plus Verstappen ended up being the best Tier A driver combo with 150 or out of 155 votes. Norris plus Russell got 54%, Norris plus Piastri 24%, Verstappen plus Russell 13%, and Verstappen plus Piastri got 9%. But 3, 2, 1. So yeah, there we go. We are going to go watch the sprint race. Hopefully everyone has a great weekend. Thank you for all the new subscribers, all the questions. It was a fantastic stream. I'll be back tomorrow for the cool down room episode. So yes, 1 hour after the Grand Prix, I will be back for a race review episode, which, yeah, don't always get to do, but the time zones work out this time. So I will get out of here. I'll let you watch the sprint race. Good luck in qualifying. Good luck in the main race. I'll be back tomorrow for that race review episode. So once again, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you tomorrow.